Podcast. I am Anthony Totri, joined on this Friday fun day by Shawn DePaz, and Shane's not here.
Shane's not here. He's a birthday boy soon, though, so he deserves some time off, I suppose.
He's in Texas. He's accompanying Mac Morgan.
Yeah, in Austin.
UT.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I'd like to go to Austin someday.
Would you?
Yeah, I've heard it's a cool place. I know someone who moved there that I used to work with.
I feel like you have a lot of hatred for Texas schools. So
no,
like...
but not. No, I hate other Texas schools because I love Texas. I grew up a UT fan, so I hate Oklahoma and I hate Texas Tech and I hate Texas A&M.
Oklahoma's
particularly
not in Texas.
Well, no, but they're a rival. That's why I hate those schools in particular. Is because of my Texas will always have a spot in my heart. Obviously, if it's ASU versus Texas, ASU is always going to come first.
Yeah, what happens if they're in a conference together? Because that
is a possibility, apparently.
There are a lot of possibilities in the realm of college athletics right now. It started off as maybe not rumor, but just like a report that UCLA and USC were trying to move to the Big Ten yesterday. All of a sudden, that is now a done deal. Unanimous decision. The Big Ten Board of Directors voted unanimously to allow USC and UCLA in the conference starting in the 2024 and 2025 season. So the Pac-12 now without arguably its two biggest, most notable schools, left with 10 schools. What happens next?
So first off, they're going to have to rename the conference.
Well, not if they add two more schools.
Not if they add two more schools. But if the Big Ten, if the Big Ten's definitely going to have to change their name. Because because right now they're the Big 12.
Yeah.
Which, if you didn't know, already exists. And if they add two more schools, then they're the Big 14, then they got to change their logo. Remember for a while they had the Big 10 with the 1 snuck into the 0 because they had 11 schools. But yeah, I think it's time to pack it up.
Yeah, I'm with Josh on this one. It is time to pack it up.
The Pac-12 is dead. It's been dead in spirit for.
It could be.
But I mean, I think the Pac-12 has kind of been dead in spirit for a little bit. To be honest with you,
what I've always hated is the Conference of Champions because for a long time the Pac-12 hasn't been a champion in anything relevant, or at least in a revenue sport, in a minute. Yeah. When was the last time they've won anything in football, basketball, or baseball?
Yeah, I mean, Oregon was there for a little bit in football. Utah was there, and I mean, USC is in the process of becoming relevant again, but obviously they're on their way out. Basketball, UCLA they just need to kind of be good to be relevant because they're UCLA and they're so storied.
They're good because they got a great color scheme. That's the only reason UCLA is good.
Yeah, and I mean, Utah football has been good, but no one even really cares that they're good because it's Utah.
Yeah.
And it's fuck Utah until I die.
Okay.
I just don't know anymore. I forgot your question.
What's next for the Pac-12?
Death? What's next realistically is that they add probably San Diego State and Boise State because are there any other schools? I joked about GCU. GCU may be a possibility if they had a football team, but obviously they don't, so that's not going to happen. Colorado State maybe. I mean, if they really if it gets real desperate, like a Hawaii maybe, just so you can say that you have Hawaii. I don't know. I mean, the Conference of Champions thing is They are the conference of champions, just not in the sports that America cares about, if we're being realistic. Like, ASU dominates in triathlon. Like, Pac-12 is the best softball and baseball conference in America, in my opinion, with SEC obviously competes there. But, like, so, like, it's a great wrestling conference. It's a great gymnastics conference, great golf conference.
Not in things
but it's in the two big ones. You know, I mean, Stanford women's basketball has been an absolute juggernaut recently.
Yeah. Stanford baseball.
Stanford baseball. Stanford should. I saw someone joke about this, but Stanford should leave and go to the Ivy League. At this
They
point.
should. They honestly should. If we're switching conferences, like,
and if location doesn't matter.
Well, so this is the next thing that I want to talk about before we get into what's next for Arizona State, like from an individual perspective, because we've got an interesting theory that could potentially work. What do you think? A potential Pac-12, what?
The MAC Pac. MAC.
Oh my God.
The MAC and the Pac combined forces. You get some MACtion just out west. Holy shit! And I'm gonna get a little more excited than I actually am because for Shane in Shane's honor because he loves MACtion. Turn me up for MACtion in the Pac. McPaction.
McPaction?
Sponsored by McDonald's.
Wow. Okay.
That would be awesome. But sorry, what your question?
The potential of a Big 12 Pac-12 merger where you get pretty much the leftovers of the Power 5 coming together as opposed to adding SDSU or Boise State. You combine those two conferences, not necessarily a super conference because none of those teams are really juggernauts.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's the only way that you can really salvage the Pac-12. Like, the Pac-12 is in such a different situation than the Big 12 is.
I agree.
Because I feel like the Big 12 has every available option to poach schools from the Pac-12. Because people care more about Big 12 sports than they do Pac-12 sports.
Yeah.
So I feel like the ball is in the Big 12's court in that scenario. But what would you feel like if those two conferences, I guess, were to potentially merge?
My biggest thing is, like, at this point, I don't know what option they have. Like, I feel like that is realistically the best option they have because I think there's no longer a Power 5. I think it's a Power 3 at this point. It's really a Power 2.5. Yeah. Like, it's the Big 10, the SEC, and then kind of the ACC. But I don't know what the ACC is going to do. Like,
ACC always does its own thing.
Yeah, the ACC is just going to rock on the East Coast. The Maryland should be in the ACC. I don't know why. They're in the Big 12 because or the Big 10 because they don't have money, which is why UCLA is also there. But, like, when you look at it from the Pac-12 standpoint, what do they gain? Kansas basketball, I think, is the biggest thing they gain.
Yeah.
Football-wise, Baylor, I guess.
I mean, they were
Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Baylor and Oklahoma State are the two that you get. I mean, those are, in my personal opinion, I think when you add Baylor and Oklahoma State, I think you almost get better as a conference than you do with UCLA and USC, not to mention you add Kansas basketball with this merger. I think the Big 12 Pac-12 merger puts the Pac-12 in a better scenario than it was with just the LA schools.
I agree in certain aspects. Obviously, financially, I don't think you do because of the value that LA brings having it in the conference.
Those LA markets are definitely a lot bigger.
So that part's a little tough. But in terms of, like, the on-field product, like I said, you add Kansas basketball, who immediately becomes the best basketball team in the conference.
Yep.
Well, historically, obviously Arizona is.
Can you imagine that tournament though?
Yeah,
you get Kansas, Arizona.
Yeah,
like those are going to be some fun games. Again, this is all a hypothetical situation.
From the Pac-12 standpoint, you get the Seattle and Phoenix markets, which I think are the two. If Washington stays in the Pac-12, that is, because obviously there's the whole thing with them potentially going to the Big 10. But, like, if Washington stays here and the Pac and ASU is here, you get the two biggest West Coast markets that aren't Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Like, at this point, I think this is kind of their only option. Like, you have to merge because at this point it's clear that that's what the Big 10 and the SEC are trying to do. They're trying to become super conferences.
Yeah.
Like,
I think they've already done it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What? How many schools does the SEC have now? Are they at 12? How many did they have?
They got to be at 12 or 14.
Yeah, I don't know, but the Big 12.
I hear David typing back there. I imagine David's looking that up.
The Big 12. Oh, do we have
It's
it?
14. I don't think this is counting their 2 new ones with
So there'll be
Texas
16?
and Texas and Oklahoma. So it will be 16.
Okay, and then the Big Ten's trying to get to 16 with Oregon and Washington
Potentially
/ Notre
either,
Dame.
yeah.
So this is the only option. This is really the only option. I think the ACC needs to try and eat up the Big East and get UConn,
See, that's where I think.
or no, they're in the American. They're not in the Big East. They need to eat up the American too. I think those 3 conferences need to merge: the Big East, the SEC. Bring back because you look at the ACC. I know that's kind of a tangent, but that rivalries you add by merging that, you get back the Syracuse rivalries with UConn. You bring St. John's a little more relevance, like stuff like that. Listen, in an overarching thing, people are getting really upset about this, and it's like, oh, it's so bad for college sports. I think, particularly for football and basketball, this could be so good for college sports.
For those 2 sports specifically.
The other ones, obviously, there's going to be problems. I don't think it necessarily, it probably will, but I don't think it necessarily hurts the other sports as much as people are reacting to it as. But I could sit here and talk for an hour.
Matt in the chat saying not going to happen, but merge with Big 12 to become the first 20-plus team super conference, Big Pac conference.
Yeah,
I mean, a tweet about that where it's like you could have the Biggie and the Pac conference, and it's just one.
That's amazing. I mean, I think realistically, if this happens, you don't get a 20-plus because I think if that happens, this only happens.
It's a new conference entirely.
Yeah, but I think this only happens if the Pac loses more schools. I think realistically, when this is all said and done, you'll see ASU and Arizona, probably Oregon,
potentially Stanford.
Yeah, but where does Stanford go? Like, we joke about the Ivy League, but where did?
I think honestly they could go to the Ivy League.
Yeah, but the thing about the Ivy League is they don't have the financial resources to be sending these motherfuckers out.
No, but Stanford doesn't
California.
necessarily need. Stanford's in a position where they don't necessarily need that conference. Like that conference needs Stanford more than them. Like this is again, and we joke about it all the time. But Notre Dame is in such a unique position, and actually, Notre Dame controls a lot of what is going to happen next.
I mean, them being independent and being good at sports is one of the biggest sticking points in college. Yeah, because it's the same thing with the college football playoff. The reason I think really the only reason that there isn't an expanded college football playoff is because how does Notre Dame not being in a conference fit with the idea of automatic berths, right?
Yeah.
Like conferences getting automatic berths. So it's weird. I'm enjoying this, to be honest. Like, I think this is first off, thank you for handing us off-season content. But I think it's cool to be alive. Like, not to get
cool
real
to be
serious.
alive.
It is cool to be alive.
Factual information.
At times. But not to get too serious. But we've been living through some pretty shitty historical stuff recently.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome to live through something that doesn't really have a massive impact on society as a whole. That is also pretty historic.
Bro, I'm just happy sports are going on again.
Yeah, honestly, sports are doing the damn thing.
Yes, 100%. 100%. It's going to be super interesting, man, because we bring up the ACC.
Yeah.
And I feel like the ACC is kind of a slept-on player in all of this because they haven't really made any moves. They're not going to – odds are they probably won't make any moves.
Yeah, but then 3 days from now, you're going to be like, oh, and Miami and Florida State are joining the SEC.
But I don't think – because everyone's talking about, the Big Ten is trying to get Oregon and UW, but they only want UW if Notre Dame doesn't go to the Big Ten. My idea is Notre Dame doesn't play Big Ten opponents that often.
Yeah.
Right? Like they've got their big rivalry with Michigan, and they're gonna open the season this coming season against Ohio State in Columbus, which is gonna be a great game. But historically, Notre Dame has played more ACC opponents.
Yeah. And I mean, they were in the ACC for the COVID year.
For that 1 year. And they won the conference.
And they're ACC for basketball.
Yeah. So if Notre Dame is going to up and stop being independent, which, again, I just don't see that happening because they make so much money anyways, there's a scenario where if they do, I feel like you get Notre Dame to the ACC and you get Stanford to the ACC, and then you've got Oregon and UW moving to the Big Ten, and then that leaves the Pac-12 kind of in a super, super shitty situation where I don't see a merger. I see everybody else kind of leaving and going to a different conference. And a lot of this revolves around the fact that the television rights are up at the end of the season. That's why UCLA and USC are able to switch conferences in 2024 without a giant financial penalty.
Yeah. I feel like the future is conferenceless college football. And I kind of mentioned it a few shows ago where I talked about the idea of all of the big schools just kind of upping and saying screw the NCAA and just doing their own thing. I mean, we're moving towards that.
Yeah.
Like, because I think at a certain point, you'll get to a point where if you have 50 schools or whatever that are the best, and you lose some, like a Missouri, like they might not make the cut, even
Remember
though
when
they're
they were
the
good?
SEC. Yeah. But like, there's like random schools like that, like a Maryland or Northwestern that might not make the cut into like a super conference, which sucks for them. ASU has the Phoenix market, so and Northwestern has Chicago market, I guess, so they'd probably stick around. But like it's just such a weird, like, they don't need this. What's best for them right now is to just play each other and be able to cycle through opponents. I don't really know what schools are going to do. Stanford being in the ACC, that feels even worse than the UCLA and USC being in the Big Ten, because that's even a larger travel.
Yeah.
And the travel thing has been a big sticking point with all this. I just want to say that flying from LA to Columbus, for example, which is kind of smack dab in the middle of the Big Ten region, is only like a few hundred miles further than a Tucson to Seattle flight, which is no one has ever complained about because it's in conference. And only a few hundred miles further than Miami to Boston College, for example. So the travel thing is like not that significant. I just don't know. Like, there's a regionality aspect to it, but teams are leaving with their rivals anyways. Like, Texas left with the only other school that holds a candle to them, not to mention the fact that you get back the Texas A&M rivalry.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
LTC and Chazang Phoenix sports market is about to start spinning on its head. That is 100% true, especially with the whole KD thing. Yeah. We got the Coyotes draft next week. Like, there is just a lot going on right now in sports. Sometimes it can make your head hurt.
A little bit.
And there's only one way to deal with all of it, aside from, some like ibuprofen and shit to stop your head from spinning. But
you either do the ibuprofen or
4 Peaks.
Yeah.
Because
not at the same time.
No,
you gotta do it
definitely not encouraged at all.
It's not encouraged. It's strongly discouraged.
Separately, they're good.
And or.
Yes. Our recommendation would be 4 Peaks. Specifically for me, the peach ale, bro. I talk about it literally every show. It is so fun.
The peach ale is amazing. It really just depends on how I'm feeling. I kind of rotate between 3. Hazy I've been into. I tried the peach because everyone's been so high on it.
The peach ale is the Alabama, or it's the SEC of beers.
Yeah, I'll give you that. The hazy is the Big Ten, and Kilt Lifter is the future. It is the Mac Pac-12, the Big Mac Pac-12, brought to you by McDonald's. It is also delicious. Yeah.
You can't go wrong.
You
really can't go wrong with it.
Can't go wrong.
But if you are going to choose to drink, please be 21 or older, and please drink responsibly. Let's talk about ASU now, right? Because this is an Arizona State podcast. Let's try and figure out what the hell is going to happen with ASU. There is a theory.
Turn me up.
There is a theory, and I read this to you, and you freaked the fuck out.
Freaked the fuck out just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Matt Priam, who is a beat writer who covers Oregon, right? Yes. He tweeted this out. 2 things. 1, I wonder if the Big Ten is wanting Oregon and Notre Dame and only takes UW if Notre Dame doesn't come. And 2, this is where Arizona State's involved. If I'm the SEC, I quickly add Oregon, Utah, Arizona, and Arizona State. You get a West Division that becomes Oregon, Utah, ASU, Arizona, Oklahoma, Texas, A&M, Missouri, Arkansas, and LSU. You'd have ASU in the SEC.
Oh my God, turn me all the way up.
West. Can you imagine?
No, I literally can't. First off, no one wants
I've never seen Shawn more excited when I brought something up than that.
Could you imagine an ASU game in either Austin, Texas, or Norman, Oklahoma? That shit would be ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Would it be good for ASU sports as they sit right now? No, they would probably get embarrassed. But if you are looking at a recruit, right, and you're talking to an LA kid, right, and they're like, you could go play at ASU or you can go play at USC, UCLA, but half your games are going to be in the Northwest or then the Northeast, the Midwest, whatever, and it's going to be snowing half the time. Or
those LA kids, bro, are going to hate that.
Yeah, or you could come a few hours east, play at ASU, and your games will be at Alabama, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Texas, where, in case you didn't know, the weather's almost always nice.
I think your pitch to them at that point, let's say the SEC West becomes a thing,
Yeah.
right? And this division, again, where all these phenomenal athletic programs exist, I think your pitch to recruits is come to ASU because, like you said, you're not going to those LA schools and you're playing, in the snow, you're playing those teams. Come to ASU. You get a beautiful place in Tempe, right? You're going to get that new district coming up soon. Come be a Giant Slayer. Come to ASU. Let's go beat Alabama. Let's go beat Oklahoma. Let's go beat LSU. Like, that's got to be your only pitch.
Think about ASU secondary specifically, right? You're gonna, because the SEC I think is the best secondary, especially with the addition of Texas. It's the best secondary conference in college football. And now you talk about ASU being there, and you get a 5-star cornerback from LA, and you're like, listen, you're gonna get to go up against Alabama receivers who are behind Ohio State, probably the best receiving core in college football in any given year. And you're going to have the eyes of all the pro scouts are watching the SEC.
That's exactly what it is.
So like, and you get to play in by the way, because like ultimately when it comes to what scouts are paying attention to, like the Big Ten, SEC, probably pretty equal. But one of them gets to play in good weather, and one of them has the most historic like football heritage ever, like especially with the addition of Texas and Oklahoma. Like, you think about any given week, you get to play in beautiful Tempe, right? And then next week we get to play at Texas and then Oklahoma, and like all of the tradition that you get to be around. I cannot say, and we talk about like Trisha Ford, for example. Well, Trisha Ford, why? Because the Pac-12 doesn't make the money to pay coaches or build facilities that the SEC does. You know where you can get that money and the facilities?
When you're in the SEC.
Like, you're going to have all, like, that's a situation where all the programs benefit, I think. Because the travel from Phoenix to Austin, Texas is not nearly as ridiculous as LA to Penn State or Columbus.
Maryland.
Like yeah. Like, that's not so bad.
Yeah.
I think that is their best option. If somehow ASU, because
well, think about it from Ray and Dr. Crow's perspective.
Yes,
right. They're all about innovation.
Yeah,
this is 100% innovation, and we've heard countless times about how they are going to do what's best for the university. Right.
Yeah,
we got a comment in the chat. ASU hockey is a
very interesting.
Big Ten, the shakeup with Pac-12 makes me curious where all our programs end up now.
It is a very interesting cog in the situation because there is no SEC hockey.
Yeah.
Right. ASU hockey right now obviously is independent, but during their COVID year they played essentially in the Big Ten.
There are programs that are independent in sports that have
and hockey with them being out here, like it's a particularly different situation. Like the conferences don't translate.
I am
to
sure
hockey
there could be a scenario where, let's say this SEC West division exists, where there is an accommodation for ASU hockey to be a part of the Big Ten.
Yeah,
like I
think there have to be. Yeah,
they'll figure it out.
Or they could stay independent and just play school. Like they'll at least be closer to. Or no, they wouldn't be any closer. It's not like the school's fucking moving.
Yeah.
I don't know. The ASU hockey is a very interesting cog in this, and I know Arizona's trying to build up their hockey program, so like that also would be interesting. But them being in the Big Ten in particular, like the whole athletic department being in the Big Ten, I don't see that happening. I don't think the Big Ten wants anything to do with Arizona.
It's
but Arizona, ASU and the SEC.
You want to talk about how Crow and Ray fix this, or at least save their legacy a little bit? This is how you do it.
Yeah, break the news that you're going to the SEC.
You find a way to make this SEC West division an actual thing, right?
Yeah.
Ray's big thing is we're not going to be big on NIL. We are going to 100% get our focus to getting our players drafted or to the next level. You want to know where they do that better than anywhere fucking else? In the SEC. Find a way to make this SEC West division actually exist, and I think you gain some of the respect back from the ASU fan base.
And Texas running back Bijan, he just got a Lambo deal. So your guys are going to be getting their NIL deals too without you having to do much work.
Not to say Bijan Robinson, I'm pretty sure went to high school in Arizona.
Really?
Point Catholic.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Pac-12 mascot games, bro. When they bring back this college football game, if they don't have mascot matchups in that game, I'm going to be irate. Because running around with Otto the Orange against, I guess his name's not Bevo because the real Bulls Bevo, but running around with mascots playing football in the old NCAA.
Is Syracuse's mascot an actual orange?
No. Fun fact, Otto the Orange is not an orange. He is the embodiment of the color orange. So he's really just an orange sphere with a face. He is not a fruit.
An orange sphere is an orange.
No, but he's like, he's just...
He's an orange circle.
He's not an orange. He's orange.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I learned that, obviously, while I went there. But he is not, like, you take his hat off, there's no little stem and a leaf. Like, he's just an orange blob. He is orange. He's the embodiment of the color orange.
So the sun?
No, the sun's yellow. Well, I guess when you actually look at it.
When you draw it and you're 5 years old, it's yellow.
When you look at it in the sky... this isn't a geography class. That's not. That
That's not geography.
This isn't an astronomy. This isn't an astronomy class. I mean, I guess it's kind of been a geography class because we're talking a lot about travel and cities around the country and all that stuff. But I will say, the map of the the Big Ten now is hilarious.
Oh my god, it's the dumbest thing ever. Because you get those two LA schools and then you've got everybody else all next to each other. Where
they should. UCLA and USC should become super fierce rivals with Nebraska. Just call it the proximity rivalry because they are by far the closest. Not by far, but Nebraska is the closest Big Ten school to, which is hilarious.
I don't think those. I just don't think they took into consideration what weather is going to be like there when they're playing games from October.
Join the ACC.
December.
Syracuse has a dome, and half their schools are in nice weather.
Like when USC played last year in Indiana, and it was a night game, and the weather was like 30 some odd degrees when it was like 80 in LA. They literally did a player interview, and the players were like, "Wait, what? It's how cold?" Yeah.
Well, the thing is like I have talked to various athletes. Like there was an old Bills player that I was friendly with. Then I like talked to him. He went to LSU. He's from Louisiana. And I asked him like his favorite part about playing for the Bills, and he said the snow. Like so, there are definitely players who will relish an opportunity to play in the elements because you don't get to do that in Southern California. And that's a cool part of football is playing out in the elements, which is why I hate that Syracuse has a dome. But that's a story for them. Yeah, I like that Shane's not here to make fun of us for how much we talk about our alma mater. Yeah, my alma mater, your former job site. But. It's interesting. The future is interesting. There's no way if ASU wants to survive, if they want to innovate, and if Ray Anderson wants to keep his fucking job,
SEC West,
not even the SEC, just not the Pac-12, because
that's fair.
You either hop off this ship or you go down with it. There is no fixing it at this point.
This is not Pirates of the Caribbean. You are not going down with the Black Pearl. This is not some great ship that you want to be sinking with. You would much rather. This is the
Titanic.
Yes, you need to be jumping ship. There's no rafts here.
You want to be a woman or child, not a man, because you need to get on a raft and get out of here. Don't be the band playing with the ship.
Oh my gosh, dude. Well, regardless, if these super conferences, whatever happen, super, super excited to see these matchups on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
Super excited to potentially bet on these random matchups on a yearly basis. But while that's all hypothetical right now, UFC 276 isn't hypothetical, and it's going to be going on this weekend. There are tons of ways to come out on top in the octagon, and for UFC 276, there's one more with DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code PHNX. Bet $5 on any UFC 276 fighter to win and get $100 in free bets no matter what. That's code PHNX this Saturday in DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for more details. Before we get into hot or not, I didn't put it in the rundown, but do we have the Pac-12 imposter graphic?
I don't know if we have it anymore. But I can tell you who the imposter is.
That's exactly why I want.
It's USC and UCLA because they're sitting here. Everyone's like, "Oh, we're all in the Pac-12," and then it's just
psych. Well, no. So if you've never played Among Us, like it's literally you go around. And two people are the killers.
Yeah.
Right? And they just...
You don't know which ones.
They go around and they kill people, or they kill these little characters, and once you, like, report a body, like, you go and you talk about it and figure it out. USC, UCLA, quite literally
they've
the
been hiding in plain sight this whole time. Or the Pac-12 itself is the imposter, like Josh says. They've been disguising themselves as an actual Power 5. So, like, they're not.
It is what it is. Let's get to hot
Conference champions, baby.
Oh.
I swear to God. What? He's not even...
David!
He's not even here.
It's his birthday.
No, it's not his birthday.
Not his birthday.
It will be.
He's not here, man. There's
Oh
no
my
shot.
God, that is
I
ridiculous.
demand a
for the
recount.
record, that was not me. That was David who did that.
I
So
demand a recount.
Absurd.
okay,
Yeah,
welcome.
USC
and UCLA
Yeah, they are 100%
are
sus,
sus.
Charles.
Okay, welcome to Hot or Not. Okay, first one. Men in flip flops.
Oh,
Men wearing flip flops.
ice cold. Are you kidding me? I don't want
Not
to see a
hot.
man's toes.
Not hot.
Men should not have their toes out unless they're in a pool. And
I
maybe-
am here for the sliders with socks.
Yes, I am. I was very anti that as a kid, like growing up. Now I'm like, it's convenient. You just want to slip some on, but also don't show your toes.
Yes.
You're a grown man.
No man
Hide
toes.
them motherfuckers.
So
I don't wanna
sliders
see your
with
toes.
socks, but not barefoot.
Not barefoot.
No.
I'm not trying to see your toes.
No.
Interesting.
And
Ever.
with toe
Unless
in
you're
my
at a
last
pool.
name, I feel like I
Yeah.
get a bigger say on this. So yeah, no toes. No toes. should be.
Unless you're at a pool or the beach. If you're by a body of water,
Even then,
you
I
can
don't
have
really
your
want to
toes
see your
out.
toes. Like put
But
them in the fucking water.
Yeah, I don't want to see them, but it's excusable to have your toes out. Even if you got a pedicure, you can have God himself craft your feet. They're still not
God
pretty.
He did craft your feet.
I suppose, but your feet aren't pretty. I don't
That's
even
true.
want. I'm not
Your feet are made for walking.
showing.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, next topic. Hot or not? Water parks.
I go back and forth on water parks, to be honest with you.
They're kind of grimy.
They are grimy, and I'm not a huge like body of water.
Yeah,
like I'm
you're
not a
just-
water
water's-
person. I'm not. It's not really my thing.
No.
But like, I will never be like, hey, we should go to a water park ever in my life.
See, I said that literally a couple weeks ago.
Really? Like,
Yeah.
uh,
It was like a random. I wanted to go to the night splash. They have sunsplash, but at night, and
that sounds kind of fun.
you can't drink. That's my biggest, which I get. I
you
understand
probably should be
not consuming alcohol where there's large bodies of water. However, if I'm going down a water slide or like a wave pool, that shit would be electric if I had like one beer.
until you wake up in the hospital after 4 lifeguards had to recover
That's
you.
also probably true.
Water parks are cool in theory, but it's just like I don't like that there's no rails, right? Like a roller coaster, your shit's on a rail, it can't go anywhere. But sometimes you get in those like funnels, and it's like you go like zero gravity for a second, and if you're not holding on, like it leaves too much room for human error.
Yeah.
If you're not holding onto the handles, you die.
Like those slides, bro. Those slides that literally feel like they're just straight vertical down. Hell no.
Yeah, I'm not getting.
Hell
I'm
no.
not getting on anything where my skin has to touch a slide. Yeah, I need to be in a raft. I
Yeah,
need to be
don't
in a
like
raft.
it.
That's the
I don't
only
like
thing.
it.
They're cool in theory. I'm just not. I feel like
I just
Shane's
don't
a big
like-
water park guy, though.
Shane is a big water park guy.
Miss you, Shane. I hope you're enjoying Austin.
That's for you. For all the audio listeners, you could guess what that was.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna let you know what that was, so your mind doesn't go wild. We just blew kisses to Shane.
What's next?
Okay. Hot or not? And I don't mean it literally. I just mean like celebrating it, but 4th of July.
The celebrations are hot. Like I think like hot dogs and fireworks
I hate
and
hot dogs.
baseball. I love hot dogs. Good, well cooked hot dogs.
Nah,
Got to get it
brats.
on a
brats
char-
over hot dog.
Oh, that's fair. I'm a big Italian sausage guy, but you know, hot dogs. You can't go brats on 4th of July.
Why not?
You can't go with German sausage on 4th of July, on American Independence Day. Come on now.
Okay, dude. Okay, dude.
But like, you got to get a hot dog over charcoal. You got to chop it up. It's got to be particular hot dogs, specifically Mordinski's and or Salen's, which is a Buffalo brand.
Hot dog.
But 4th of July, like I like everything that comes with 4th of July. I love baseball. I love fireworks. I love.
Why do you love fireworks so?
I mean, I don't love. They're cool. Like it's just explosions. I like fire.
That
But
was a different hot or not topic in a different week.
And
So
I
set
didn't
that.
like it.
So set that aside for this.
Oh, this is tough for me.
you know, at times, let's be real, not crazy about the country. So what it stands for, but I like what comes with it. You might not see me wearing the red, white, and blue necessarily, but you'll see me eating a hot dog watching some fireworks.
I wish I could say like, I know it's hot or not, but I just want to say like, what would be the mid version?
Lukewarm.
Yeah, lukewarm. I want to say lukewarm. I love sit by the pool, love drinking,
Yes.
love burgers.
Here-
Like
4th of July, hot. Independence Day, not.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say, just for the sake of it, I'm gonna say not hot. Like I feel like anything that you do on the 4th of July, you could do just any other weekend and it wouldn't be questioned.
Yeah, I'm more of a. Yeah,
Even fireworks. You can fuck with fireworks on any given weekend.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what neighborhood you're in around here, they do fuck with fireworks every given weekend. I lived on the west side for a little bit.
Those aren't fireworks, bro.
Well, no, sometimes they are. A lot of times they're not, but sometimes they are. Yeah, but like Memorial Day, for example, like Memorial Day, I like what it stands for more than 4th of July, and you get a lot of the same stuff.
Labor Day, same thing.
Yeah.
A lot of these holidays could just be one.
If they played baseball and had hot dogs on New Year's Eve, turn me up. Then I wouldn't need 4th of July.
On New Year's Eve?
Yeah, because I got the fireworks.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't fireworks. I don't.
I'm not sitting here
They're
like
so
a 5-year-old.
mid,
Like I'm not being like, "Ooh, daddy, let's go see the fireworks." But
I'd hope not. Shit.
if I'm at a baseball game and they're like, "Oh, there's fireworks after," I'm like, "Oh shit, yeah, let's go." I'm gonna sit. I'm gonna stay
different.
after.
That's different fireworks. That's different fireworks. You're not going to those. They're not picking up those fireworks at the store. Like the ones
no, fuck the store bought fireworks. I don't care about those.
That's what I'm talking about. The 4th of July, like I get it. I get the 4th of July big show, like in a city,
that
downtown,
shit is what I'm
whatever.
into. Yeah,
no, I'm cool with that. But like, why are we fucking with sparklers or everybody's gathering around for like a
sparklers are the
$5
most
firecracker?
overrated things ever, and I hate the little shits where it's like you light it on fire in your backyard. It's like pew, and it's like okay, that's cool. No, I'm
It's
talking
a 10-minute
about like
process of nothing.
The town
watermelon. Mad in the chat. Watermelon. Literally,
the food on 4th of July is
Yes,
elite. The
100%.
the side salad, not the salad, but like pasta salad, macaroni salad, potato salad. Hot dogs are elite. You get some, like you said, the beers. Only time I'll ever drink a Bud Heavy is on 4th of July, or if it's the only thing available. Yeah, hot dogs. Like I don't really ever eat hot dogs, and they need to be grilled. If you're boiling your hot dogs,
what are we doing?
I'm not
Or
gonna
microwave. Have you seen those? Microwaved hot dogs, bro. Oh my gosh.
I feel like I'm Leah and I just ate fake syrup, which if you want to
Yeah.
see her do, go watch the PHNX Coyote show from earlier today.
I want to say this name correctly.
Dottore Peste.
Yes. He says you're not getting the good shit at the store. The big ass ones you can get in Mexico and bring back. Those are fireworks. Yo, so funny story about fireworks is so I was like, oh man, I was probably like 10, maybe 11 years old, right? And would go down to Mexico, like Rocky Point, with my grandparents all the time. Again, grandparents actually exist. They're not bots. So we'd go down, and this was for the 4th of July. Had fireworks, and on the beach, like right outside of the hotels, it specifically says, do not set off fireworks, right? But
Of course you set off fireworks.
of course.
I'm assuming.
So I'm like 10 years old. I'm with my grandpa. He's like, let's go set these off on the beach. Like total grandpa, grandson thing to do. So he's like, I'm going to get these set up. Like, just keep watch. Like, let me know if you see anybody coming. So he's setting up the fireworks. About 5-10 minutes go by. We're setting off a couple. I'm staring at the fireworks, and my job is to keep watch. And all of a sudden, like, I turn around, and I just see this guy coming, and I'm not saying anything. And he's just talking to my grandma. He's like, Senor, you can't do that here. And my grandpa stares at me. He's like, what? You had one job. Like, you had one job. So that may have left a salty taste in my mouth about the whole firework thing. Also, fun fact, this is the same grandpa who I nearly killed while we were golfing, and I jumped out of the golf cart. I told you that story.
Yes, I actually do remember that story.
So me and his grandpa have some interesting stories. Again, also that happened in Mexico. So
two fireworks thing. I was saying this at one point. I never finished the story. My town that I used to live in back home had one of the greatest fireworks shows I had ever seen, and also fireworks at Disney World, elite. Or Disneyland. Also, you ever seen the old like Vine where it's like the guy in the motorized wheelchair sets the fireworks, and he sets like they help him light the fireworks, and then he tries to move away, but he like either his thing's stuck or he's not moving, whatever, and they're like, "Move, Terry, move, get out of there!" And all of a sudden the fireworks start exploding like
He's
right
just
next to his
sitting there?
wheelchair.
I think I have seen that.
Back
actually.
up, Tear. Back up, but in reverse, Tear.
That shit is so fucking funny. And that alone is why fireworks are dope. But yeah, I'm not out here about trying to spend all this money on fireworks to set them off in my backyard, but I like going to see fireworks like at a baseball game or something. Yeah. That's why 4th of July. And driving in 4th of July, when you're just like, especially here because it's so flat out here, with obviously exception of the mountains, like you could just look out the sky and there's fireworks everywhere. And it's
Put
like,
it in reverse,
that's
Terry.
That's kind of cool.
Mad in the chat saying the D-backs canceled their fireworks show this coming Monday because
the roof's been broken.
difficulties.
Yeah, so the game was supposed to be at 6 or 7, I think, and they normally do their fireworks show after on 4th of July.
Yeah.
But they moved it up to 3:30 because they can't open the roof.
That sucks.
Fireworks and gunshots, baby. That is the national. That is the official
That's
motto
America.
of the West Side.
That's
well,
America.
yeah, I guess so. But yeah, But like, if you ask me what I'm going to do on 4th of July this year, it's probably sit in my house and play video games.
Me too. All right, guys, that is going to do it for our Friday Fun Day. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can give us a follow at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow the man who is not here at Shane Deef. You can follow Shawn DePaz at Shawn_DePaz.
Rooting for the Super Mac pack as always.
And we will be back Monday with an audio show, not a live show because it is the 4th of July, but we will be live next Wednesday and next Friday. But for now, have a great weekend. Peace.